Before we part, I want to at least introduce you to some of Dreamweaver's most advanced features and show you how to add flash, video, and simple rollover effects to your pages. Come on, this is the really fun part. Because Flash is one of the most popular video formats among web designers today, I'll spend more time covering Flash video tools in Dreamweaver than I will in looking at some of the other ways you can insert video in formats such as QuickTime or Windows Media Video. You should also note that Dreamweaver supports the Flash video format better, so you'll find more options when you use the Flash video tools than you will when you use the plugin option I'll describe in the next lesson. If you're following along and you want to use the files that I've included for you, make sure that you go through the site setup process. Remember, you can use this new icon in CS4. It's a shortcut to creating a new site. If you're on a PC, you'll find this in the top right-hand corner of your program. And you want to go through site setup, look for the Chapter 11 folder in your Project Files folder, and then load the nature photography site that's in Chapter 11. Make sure you use that version, as once again I've created a special version just for this lesson. Once you've loaded the site, you can go to File, New, and we'll create a new page from Template to load our video file into. I'll go ahead and use the gallery template that we used for photographs before. It won't be a problem to insert video in place of this photo placeholder. So you can go ahead and delete that image placeholder. And before we do anything else, let's make sure we save the page. File, Save. Remember, save early and often. And here's one other advanced tip. If you're working on multiple sites and you've just switched from one site to another, sometimes Dreamweaver will still remember the previous site. And because we're working on different versions of this same site in this series, this can be particularly problematic. So a good trick to do when you first load a new site is to click on this Site Root button. So just click on Site Root. Dreamweaver will bring you back to the root level of whichever site you've set up or selected in the Files panel. And now you can select a subfolder like Galleries, and we'll name this file Video. Save it into the Galleries folder, and very simple process to get ready to insert that video. Like most things in Dreamweaver, there are a few ways to insert video, but the first step is to make sure your cursor is in the place you want the video file to appear. So you can see my little flashing cursor here in this editable region called Photo. Now I'm going to insert Media FLV. And I want you to note here that there are actually 3 flash options: Flash Paper, SWF, and FLV. SWF, or SWF, is a very common Flash format and one that's used for Flash movies, animations, and a number of other kinds of Flash files. Files created in Flash that end in .flv is specifically for Flash video. And what I'm doing here is inserting a Flash video file. So make sure you choose FLV and make sure if you're using this technique that you're working with a Flash video file. If you have a .swf file, obviously you would choose SWF, and there are a few variations on what I'm about to teach. You can also insert Flash files by using the Insert panel. Remember, you can select from a number of different options in the Insert panel. You'll find Flash in Common. And notice too that I've chosen to not show the labels. If I choose to show labels again, you'll see all of these labels here listed with the insert options. If I choose Hide Labels, what I get is this nice set of icons without taking up as much space as the labels take. So I can still have my insert menu handy without taking up so much space. If you're using this option, you want to use the Media option. And here's a tip. When you click on this, you'll see there are a number of options here. Whichever option you used last, that's the icon that will appear in the Insert menu. So I most recently used the Plugin option. That's the option you would use for other kinds of video. But if I want to insert a Flash video, then I want to choose FLV. And again, the same options we saw under the Insert menu, choose FLV to insert a video. Now the first choice you get to make in the Insert FLV dialog is whether you want progressive or streaming video. And you should know that you can only choose streaming video if your web server supports streaming video. That's to say you need special software on your web server. So if you don't have that option or you're not sure, progressive download is always going to be a safe choice. And that's why it's the default here in Dreamweaver. In the URL field, you want to use the Browse button to actually find the Flash video file. So again, if you want to make sure you're in the right place, you can always choose Site Root. Here in the Videos folder, I've included a file called Snowy Egret, 320 by 280. The next choice you have to make is what kind of skin you want to use. This is actually the player that will appear over the video when someone rolls their cursor over the video that gives them the play, pause, stop buttons. So if I choose Clear Skin 3260, I'm going to get a player that looks like this. Notice there's a little preview in the bottom here, and that it's 260 pixels wide. If I chose Corona 141, I would get a smaller player and a simpler interface. I'm going to go with Halo Skin 280, which is the last one on the list. And you should know that you can create your own Flash players and use others, but these are the ones that Dreamweaver includes and makes it very easy for you to choose from when you insert Flash video. I always recommend that you use the Detect Size button and let Dreamweaver enter the actual height and width of your video. This will make it load faster in a browser to have this included, and it will mean that Dreamweaver displays the actual size of the video in the workspace. So even though you won't be able to play the video in Dreamweaver, you'll be able to see how much room it's going to take up. Your final choices, autoplay, will cause the video to play as soon as the page is loaded. I actually don't recommend that you check this unless for some compelling reason you want the video to play as soon as it starts. In general, especially if your video has audio, I suggest that you give your users the option because, well, a lot of people surf the web at work or other places where sound might get them in trouble. So I like to give people choice about playing video or not, especially if there's sound. Auto rewind simply rewinds the video back to the beginning when it's done playing. Again, completely optional. Once you've got all those choices made, click OK, and the video automatically inserts into the page in Dreamweaver. Now I want you to note if you select the video, and it's selected by default when it's inserted, you'll see in the Properties Inspector now at the bottom of the page, you have a second chance for many of these options. So you can change the height and width, you can decide to autoplay or not autoplay later. You can even apply cascading style sheets. So if you have a class style, perhaps for alignment or some other option, you can select it here and apply it to the video file in this way. If you want to actually see how the video works and make sure that it plays, you'll have to preview the page in a web browser. So to do that, you want to go to the Preview button or File Preview, choose a browser, and of course Dreamweaver is going to ask you to save the page as you preview. And now I want you to notice, as we save this page, Dreamweaver is saving some extra files that go with it. In fact, it's actually creating a new folder called Scripts and saving a couple of files, a .swf file and a .js or JavaScript file, as it creates that scripts folder. These extra files are crucial to your Flash video playing properly in a web browser, and they need to be saved in the root folder of your website, and they need to be uploaded to your web server when you publish this. I'll show you again in a moment how this will appear over here in the Files panel after it's saved. Dreamweaver is now launching the browser, and it's bringing up this page in a web browser so we can see the video. Now, I did not check autoplay, so it's not going to start playing until I actually click on the player. I should also note here that this video, like some of the photos used in this series, came from iStock Photo. And I've included this video, as well as all of the images in this series, just for you to use as you're following along with the training. When you go to actually publish a website, if you want to use this or any of the other images or videos in this series, make sure that you get permission from iStockPhoto.com or from the photographer. When the video gets to the end, it stops automatically. Of course, the user can play again, you can pause, you can fast forward, you can even change the volume. Now let me Alt-Tab back to Dreamweaver, and let me just show you this one last thing. Notice here in the Files panel, I now have a file called Video that I created. And as I clicked on that, Dreamweaver automatically refreshed. And notice this. I'm going to slide this over a little bit so you can better see the file names. This file, the Flash Player Progressive, and this one, the Halo Skin 3, are the files that are needed for that player. And just like the scripts folder at the bottom of this Files panel, both of these Flash files need to be uploaded to your server. So when you go to upload your video.html and your actual video file, which in this case I've stored in the videos folder, you also need to upload this file and this file for the player and this folder and its contents so that the scripts will help the Flash video play properly. It's very important that you publish all of those related files to the server or it won't play when a visitor views the page in a web browser.